Good evening and welcome to the fastest half hour in the cryptid world, This Week in Bigfoot, the news show that scours the internet and the Bigfoot community each and every week so you don't have to. Then we take it and wrap it up in a nice, neat 30-minute package. If it has to do with Sasquatch, Bigfoot, or the Wildman, we've got it all covered. And boy, I tell you, while we were away last week, it looks like there's been a whole lot going on around the Bigfoot world. Project Bigfoot Books is up and running, and we've got the one and only Dan Perez to fill us in. Is it human or is it Bigfoot? What exactly are we looking at here? Mike Lucci's got the updated story on this recent Canadian find. Snowwalker's on a mission to dig up some rather strange hybrid DNA in another 2 minutes with. And Bigfoot sightings and earthquakes, is there a connection? A new study says yes. All these stories and a whole lot more, so you better buckle up because we got some catching up to do. Let's do it. Tonight, we lead off by exploring the link between sightings of Bigfoot and earthquakes, as a new theory suggests that there might be a connection between these two phenomena. According to some reports, Bigfoot sightings are more common in areas where earthquakes occur frequently. Some researchers even propose that seismic activity could disrupt the creature's usual hiding places, causing them to appear in more visible areas. The pressure and vibrations from earthquakes might also affect the creature's behavior, disorientating or agitating them, leading them to wander into places where they're more likely to be seen. This could explain why there are clusters of Bigfoot sightings in regions experiencing multiple earthquakes. When comparing maps of seismic activity from the United States Geological Survey with recent reports of Bigfoot sightings from the BFRO, there is a noticeable similarity, especially in the Pacific Northwest and the Cumberland Plateau through Kentucky and Tennessee. Although this theory is still in the early stages, and similar comparisons have been made with mountain ranges and cave systems in the past, it does provide an opportunity for researchers to approach the Bigfoot phenomena from a new perspective. By monitoring seismic activity in areas where sightings are reported, scientists may gain new insight into Bigfoot's behavior and potential habitats. And while there is currently limited scientific evidence to support this theory, two case studies offer suggestive evidence of a connection. A study by the researchers of the University of Washington found a significant increase in reported Bigfoot sightings after a magnitude 7.0 earthquake in the Pacific Northwest in 2001. Another study published in the journal Earthquake Research and Observation analyzed seismic activity and Bigfoot sightings in the San Francisco Bay Area between 1979 and 1989. It revealed a correlation between earthquakes and the increase in Bigfoot sightings during the months following seismic events. Although these studies are not definitive, something is going on in the forests of North America immediately following seismic events, implying a possible link between Bigfoot sightings and earthquakes. Further research is needed to explore this theory and determine if earthquakes do indeed influence Bigfoot's behavior. In a time where Bigfoot research seems to have all but stalled, as nothing new has been brought to the table for serious research for decades, despite the availability of some seriously advanced technology, the connection between Bigfoot sightings and seismic activity offers a promising new direction for young researchers to consider. Up next, it looks like Mike Luci's got Bigfoot on the brain. Mike?
I made all these supposed stories, photos, and videos. How often have you asked yourself, why didn't the witness take a clearer picture or a longer video? Why didn't they take one in the first place? Why did they run or stop filming? Why did they go back to collect evidence? What we're ultimately asking is, why don't these people ever think on their feet during these golden opportunities to obtain indisputable evidence of the supposed creature? Well, it turns out our own brains could be behind that particular inaction. Think about the emotions you feel during a Bigfoot encounter. Fear, shock, emotion. And you'll probably either run or freeze in place. This is how your brain assesses a threat. What's happening is your adrenal glands release hormones like dopamine and adrenaline, prepare the body for its fight or flight response. These hormones distort or stun the prefrontal cortex. It's a part of your brain that controls your cognitive functions like reasoning, problem solving, impulse control, attention, and memory. which are all essential for processing and recalling details. While this happens, these hormones also strengthen the region of your brain called the amygdala, which is responsible for regulating strong emotions like fear, aggression, and stress. And let's be real, an event of this magnitude could greatly exacerbate those kinds of emotions. The amygdala essentially assumes the prefrontal cortex's responsibilities during this transition and essentially takes charge of your cognitive functions. Since strong emotions are broadly tied to one of three physical responses, fight, flight, or freeze, they'll typically be our immediate reactions in these situations. Fight or flight is one of the most primal survival instincts that helped us survive for thousands of years, and our brains still use them today. If you were ever in a confrontation, completely stunned by something, or absolutely terrified, your fight or flight was probably taking control at that time. So next time we find ourselves questioning why a witness didn't think on their feet or can't recall certain details about their encounter, hopefully what you heard in this segment can potentially put some of that into context.
Today's episode of This Week in Bigfoot is sponsored by Got Knockers Apparel and Clothing. From hoodies and caps to soaps, keychains, and bats, Got Knockers has everything you need to show your love of Bigfoot. For more information and to shop their items, be sure to visit the Got Knockers page on Facebook at facebook.com/Got Knockers. Hey, Got Knockers? In the world of Bigfoot, where mystery, fascination, and ego sometimes collide, one man has quietly become synonymous with both doing things the right way and the quest for answers. His name is Daniel Perez. Over the last 25 years, Perez has dedicated a large part of his life to unraveling the enigma known as Bigfoot. In 1995, Perez founded Bigfoot Times, a newsletter that set out to explore the mysteries of the Bigfoot world. The publication quickly gained a loyal following, attracting both believers and skeptics eager to dive into the phenomena. With meticulous research, captivating interviews, and field investigations, Bigfoot Times presents a balanced perspective, fostering critical thinking and encouraging open dialogue. By collaborating with esteemed experts from various disciplines such as anthropology, wildlife biology, tracking, and forensics, Perez ensures that Bigfoot Times remains grounded in evidence-based research, offering readers a diverse range of perspectives. And as if all this isn't enough to keep the Southern California electrician busy, Perez recently unveiled a groundbreaking resource for all Bigfoot enthusiasts, the comprehensive Project Bigfoot Books database. This online repository brings together an extensive collection of literature on Bigfoot, ranging from historical accounts, scientific analysis, eyewitness testimonies, and even fictional works. This Week in Bigfoot recently caught up with the legendary Bigfoot Times publisher to get his thoughts on creating such an ambitious database.
So Project Bigfoot Books is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. And I started it several years ago, probably 2014, and it's already 2023. I started recognizing that there's so many books out there on Bigfoot, both fiction and factual, nonfiction, that you can find on Amazon, that there's not one person on the planet who's going to be able to collect them all or to view them all. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be neat if we had an online database just of all the books on Bigfoot? And so that's what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to go about it because I'm not really a computer-oriented individual. But I knew I wanted to do that project. And finally, last year, I found some people that do website building. And I went in there and I said, well, this is what I want to do. And can you make this happen? So a guy like me who's not internet or computer savvy can just plug in the data and make it rock and roll. And so they were able to build this template for me. And sure enough, now we've got on Project Bigfoot Books, which you can see on the BigfootTimes.net website, we have over 1,000 books listed on the subject of Bigfoot, Yeti, Yowie, whatever you want to call it, both fiction and nonfiction, both published by a major publisher and published by self-publishing. And so that is what Project Bigfoot is. Just today, someone recommended a book. And if you go to the BigfootTimes.net website, it's pretty well laid out where you go into the website and you see Bigfoot books, and you go there and it says suggest a book, and you just press on it and you just fill out the necessary information. And as soon as I realized that we did not have it in our listing, I added it immediately. And so there's no discrimination in the books. We don't, whether it's a good book or a bad book, we don't care. Whether it's fiction or nonfiction, we don't care. Whether it's published by Simon & Schuster, a major publisher, or privately published, self-published, we don't care. We want to add it so anyone on the planet who has access to the internet and is interested in the subject of Bigfoot and related beings can go to the site and see them all. So that's the spirit behind it.
To subscribe to Dan's Bigfoot Times newsletter and to access the Project Bigfoot Books database, be sure to go to BigfootTimes.net. Next up, Mike Lucci's got a story about a Bigfoot sighting in North Carolina. Mike?
This image was posted in the Bigfoot Believers Facebook group by a user on May 12th. It was allegedly taken at the individual's house in Cherokee County, North Carolina, and has already been shared over 200 times on Facebook. There's a bit of a timeline that goes along with it, whose details I'll get into shortly. The image was first posted on the user's personal profile on May 2nd. He joined the Bigfoot Believers Facebook group 3 days later on May 5th, where he first posted the image's brightened version on May 6th, and the second time on May 12th. Now, the poster did provide some important details. He claims it was a still photo taken from a security camera via the Genie app. He also claimed the original image was darker, and the one he posted in the Facebook group was a version that he brightened up himself. He also insists that the image contains a genuine Bigfoot, and that he has no knowledge on how to make a fake photo, despite his prior comments regarding the brightening up of the image. There are, however, some notable discrepancies. In the May 12th post, he claims this image came from a security camera, but in the May 2nd post says it was from a game camera. He also says in the May 2nd post the photo was taken in Maltby, North Carolina, but in the May 12th post says it happened 7 miles away in the town of Murphy. The figure seems to lack a lower left leg and has some type of black strip running across its eyes. I'm not sure if that's maybe something physical or maybe just an effect of the lighting or shadowing. When I gathered some clips of infrared footage from Genie app security cameras, not only did they seem more clear and detailed, but any living subjects taken outside with these cameras looked a lot brighter than whatever is in this photo. The Facebook user claims to have images of a person in that same spot, and also said he would try to find the picture's metadata, which would contain the exact time and date it was taken, but hasn't followed up on either task as of the recording of this video. I couldn't find any confirmed Bigfoot reports in or around that part of Cherokee County, and I also personally reached out to the image's original poster, but have yet to receive a response. There is definitely a lot going against this image's authenticity, with lots of questions needing to be answered. So until we get any updates, we'll let you be the judges on whether this one is fact or hoax.
Hey, this is Chuck Larson. You're watching the CARC channel on YouTube.
It looks like it's that time again, folks. Part of the show where we give content creator Michael Merchant screen time to speak his mind and get whatever bothering him off his chest. We call it 2 Minutes With.
Echo Station 3PA. Got spotted Imperial Walker. Imperial Walker. Echo Station 3PA. Got spotted Imperial Walker. Imperial Walker's on the North Ridge.
She wanted what? She'd like to have you send her some mermaid DNA. Mermaid DNA? Where am I going to get mermaid DNA? Do you think I had that stuff just like laying around? Oh, look, here's a jar of mermaid DNA. Where did I put my mermaid DNA? I must have misplaced it. That stuff is hard to get your hands on. I know. It takes a human and a fish. Like I said, it's not easy to do. Look, it's not my fault. They're hybrids. They're not just handing out mermaid DNA. Well, that's not all she wants. She wants some Dogman. Dogman, not a problem. Got tons of Dogman. I'm overstocked on Dogman. I'm running sales on Dogman DNA. You came at the right time, my friend. Goatman DNA. Yeah, easy peasy. Just get a goat. And a human, not a problem. She also wants giant DNA, preferably with double rows of teeth. Double rows of teeth, huh? That's a tough one. I got plenty of giant DNA, don't get me wrong, but the double teeth ones, well, I'll see what I can do. And if you could, another GoFundMe, 20 grand, it's just not gonna cut it. Like, we're doing Dogman and giant, mermaid, Goatman. Come on. Look, people are going to expect this to be over, like that. They're not going to wait 5 years like they did last time. That was 10 years ago. I'm sure they've forgotten about it. Ancient history. No one remembers that BS. Yeah, you could be right. They ponied up 20 grand awful fast. This isn't going to be like last time. This is going to take years, decades maybe, to get this right. We want to get it right, and we're not going to publish it. We're going to do documentary. Feature film, cinematic. Like Lawrence of Arabia? Exactly like Lawrence of Arabia. Sweeping panoramas, epic music, vast vistas, filled with wandering herds of Sasquatch, dogmen, giants, mermaids flopping around. Oh man, sounds beautiful. I'll do whatever I can. That's what we're looking for is we want ground root support. We want a movement, a following, a cult, if you will. Yeah, but we probably shouldn't call it a cult. Let's call it a happening. Let's call it science. Get some lab gloves and some COVID masks, white lab coats, do a photo shoot, call NBC, CNN, important people. Fox News. I like your spirit. I think you and I think we can work together.
Ho, ho, ho.
Green Giant.
Tonight's edition of This Week in Bigfoot is sponsored by Broken Branch Designs. From outerwear and clothing to home and garden decor, Broken Branch Designs has everything to do with Sasquatch. For more information, visit brokenbranchdesignsllc.com.
Well, talk about weird timing. The story first surfaced right around our last episode's debut and has since made its rounds. A Facebook user posted these photos and one video of what she describes as a humanoid foot.
Look at the toes. See that we have toes that hook. They've got joints on them. They have a long nail, a long pointed nail. This is not very old. It's hardly decayed.
Show the pad, show the ball of the foot.
And look at the ball of the foot. It's obviously been walking barefooted always, never wore shoes. But the skin goes right up here.
The bones, 2 sets, the bones.
And let's take a look at the leg. So let's see, that bone looks pretty, but this is pretty old looking. That looks like it's fairly old. Okay, look at the side.
It was reportedly found at a tree planting block in the Shilgotten Forest near the town of Alexis Creek in British Columbia. The Facebook user, who initially said she believed it might be a baby Sasquatch foot, has since updated the post with remarks on its number of shares, one mentioning that someone named Camille originally found the limb, and another describing it as a squished bear paw. Most people believe the limb either came from a bear or squatch, while others suggested a wolverine or beaver. Although the original poster's views may have since changed on what the paw could be, she initially seemed unsure it was a bear, noting how she believed the limb looked too narrow and seemed to have toenails instead of claws. One Facebook user added this image in the original post comments, which shows a black bear skeleton's hind paw, and as you can see, its resemblance to a human foot is eerily similar. While bears are certainly native to the area, I couldn't find any documented Bigfoot reports in or around Shilgotten Forest. The story was also examined by Squatch detective Steve Coles, who had this to say.
Compare the tibia collected by the tree planters to the known sample shown on the chart to the right. We can clearly see that this is a tibia from a bear. The tibia from a primate, such as a human, has a tibular plateau and ball on the end, because that is needed for the knee joint to function properly. The sample collected clearly shows it would not be supportive of that type of joint.
The Facebook user's profile showed nothing to indicate any enthusiasm or curiosity about Bigfoot. She only mentioned Sasquatch one other time in her timeline, and overall, it just seems like someone who's trying to find out this animal's identity. Hopefully, she gets the limb tested or examined, and while we're inclined to agree with Mr. Cull's findings, we'll keep you posted on any new developments in the story.
In channel news, on May 13th, the Western New York Bigfoot Investigation Group relaunched their Bigfoot Atheist Inquiry channel on YouTube. In the 9-minute video, channel founder Sasquatch walked viewers through the plans for the channel's upcoming programming. Let's take a look.
Bigfoot Atheist Inquiry is not skeptical of the existence of Bigfoot, but we are skeptical of all of the so-called evidence that people like to put out online. This whole thing is my own journey, trying to the best I can without actually being a scientist and holding any kind of scientific degrees. This is my attempt at investigating Bigfoot scientifically, trying to do a scientific investigation for Bigfoot. I'm going to try to do a video a week if I can. We may do a few shows in there. There's going to be some just chat shows where we chat about things with the people in chat. The topics can vary. Mostly it'll probably be about Bigfoot and the scientific investigation thereof. This is not a debunking channel, but there's people out there that they claim a lot of stuff, but you never see a lot of evidence. And that's what this is all about, man. The evidence of what it is, where it came from. We're going to try to answer some of those questions. I don't have any of those answers right now, but this channel will endeavor to find some answers. And I'm trying to find them for myself. And if you want to come along on the ride, as I look for those answers, you're more than welcome, and I welcome you.
So some of you may or may not know, this show is produced out of upstate New York, and as a fellow New Yorker, I'd like to wish the guys in Western New York Bigfoot the best of luck. Moving on, it's time to catch you up to speed on some recent podcasts and live streams. First up, it's the gang from Cryptophania TV. Jason, Steph, and Tommy joining us all down the Bigfoot AI rabbit hole here in 2023. Let's check it out.
That being said, I'm going to show you these, and they're pretty incredible. They're pretty incredible. And it kind of shows that next level that's possible with the AI. And if it doesn't show it, it's a good example of what you could do. So without further ado.
Okay.
Very striking.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good.
Now it's getting real.
But, you know, it's kind of like, really?
Right.
And in the car, that's the one.
In the car. In the car. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or in the
tractor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is.
Yeah.
And a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's some very striking imagery. And I think that if you didn't have the machinery and you just had those ones without the machinery, you might be like, maybe, but you throw in that machinery and it gets awfully crazy.
Next up, we're going to slide over to network TV for just a second. Alaskan Killer Bigfoot. Bigfoot gets exercised with holy water fog machine. We don't write it, folks. We only report it. Let's roll it.
So for this situation, I'm kind of taking a nuclear option as far as fixing the problem. We call it the juice. It's our mixture of rose water, sage, and holy water. In the past, we've used it to disperse demonic activity and negate negative energy. I needed a device that could actually cover acreages of space. We've come to call it the bazooka. It looks aggressive. But our cleansings are not done through aggression. They're done through very peaceful means. This is just a very intimidating looking device.
I never thought I'd be in a situation where I'd have to depend on a demonologist. You know, my Russian Orthodox faith is pretty strong. So bringing in a demonologist is pretty extreme. But Portlock is an extreme place.
This is the largest scale spiritual oppression that we've ever encountered.
Powers of the kingdom be beneath my left foot and within my right hand. Glory and eternity touch my shoulders and guide me in the paths of victory.
There's a lot of area all around Portlock that needs to be hit by this cleansing agent. And the goal is to hit them one by one until we knock them all out and cleanse this area for them.
Be that which thou art. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. Amen.
Hold your horses. Sasquatch Outpost show with Dave Eller is going to be tough to beat this week. In this episode, we find out just how randy Bigfoot can get around horses. And by Dave's account, it ain't pretty.
He and I have been talking for a while now. And I laid on to him this one theory that I have, that it's not just the braiding that's going on. I believe that there is a sexual thing happening.
I've heard about something like this.
That these things are clocking the mares, man, and I think that's why they're coming in. Again, it goes back to that food, water, and breeding. Okay, you have to reproduce, and it's just an innate thing in males. They need to do it, and I think that's what's going on with the horses, because almost always the braids are on a mare.
Oh yeah, and it's almost never on a gelding.
Right. I know, dude. It's like something's going on, and they will milk the mares. There's a lot of stuff happening there, and you can't really get into it without people getting uncomfortable.
Right.
But it's a fascinating study, and Don and I are really wanting to pursue researching this. I don't know how we're going to do it.
Yeah, when you think about horses are big enough that would be possible.
Exactly.
And they are calm enough probably that would be possible. So we couldn't ever work with an elk or a deer or, whatever. So
Right. Horses are kind of, they're gentle enough around certain individuals that it's like, and I think that's what the braiding is all about. I think one of them is braiding the manes while another one is doing his business.
Rounding us all off this week is Grassman58 and his thoughts on the time-honored tradition of gifting pine cones to Bigfoot.
A short bit, I just left it, and then I came back, I probably at that week, the weekend following, and the jar was completely gone. Didn't find it. There was nothing there whatsoever. And one day on the hike out there where I go back in toward my deer stand, I went back down, so, I'm going to go check and see where where I put the peanut butter jar. And I went out there, and the peanut butter jar was sitting there on the ground right by the tree where it had not been previously at all the week before. And it was completely cleaned empty. And there was a pine cone inside inside the jar with the lid screwed back on. So that was weird.
At a distance, they was never close enough. At a point in time, they'd come in, take things off my table and put things back. Like, I had a Pepsi sitting there that was about half empty, and they took the glass and the Pepsi, but left me a pine cone on the table. And they would do that.
Right. So you had an established interaction with them?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
With Mother's Day in the mirror and the official start of summer right around the corner, Bigfoot conferences are now in full swing. That being said, we all know there's only one guy we can all turn to keep us up to speed on the who's, the what's, and the where's, and that's Chuck Larson with another great show in this week's Spotlight.
This year's Alabama Bigfoot Conference will be the weekend of June 9th and 10th. The event will be held at the Crest, 1108 Noble Street, Anderson, Alabama. The event kicks off with a private VIP dinner with the weekend's featured speakers Friday night at 6 p.m. Scheduled to appear are Stacy Brown, Adam Davies, Steve Coles, Connor Flynn, and more. The conference's main day is Saturday, June 10th from 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. The event will again feature a silent auction, Bigfoot merchandise, and other craft vendors, along with plenty of delicious southern food. Come meet other Bigfoot enthusiasts, learn what's new in the field of research, share your Bigfoot stories, and make some new friends. For more information or to purchase tickets, go to BamaBigfootConference.com. And that's this week's conference spotlight. Brendon, back to you.
All right, folks, looks like we're all out of time for this week. I'd like to thank you for watching and remind you to like and share everything we do here at the Catskill Appalachian Research Collective. And if you have any questions or comments, or maybe a story for the show, you can always drop us a line at ThisWeekinBigfoot Newscast at gmail.com. So for Mike Lucci and Chuck Larson, I'm Brendon Brown, reminding you that when it comes to getting your Bigfoot news, be informed, not biased. Take care.